pistons come out. Woo! What's up everyone? Welcome to First Time Recycling. My name is Hiro and today we're doing a maintenance video. On my mountain bike, I've been going through this issue where my rear brake would just stick. The pad would just hold onto the rotor. Oftentimes it will just cause it to drag, and you'll lose. I end up losing energy because then I have to push harder. What was working for me was when I would just press the brake again and then it would just release. Then I'll be okay, but then it will eventually get stuck again. I suspect that it could be the piston. There's probably, especially mountain bikes have a lot of dust and dirt going through it. So I'm assuming that the piston might have a lot of gunk on it and it's just getting stuck as it's trying to retract. So what I'm going to do is actually remove the caliper from the disc brake, and I'm going to use one of the tools that I have in the Auto XL kit. I know it's not the proper tool meant for brake pad separation or brake maintenance on bicycles, but I have a feeling that it could do the trick. Some people use a flathead screwdriver, which I don't like, but they keep the brake pad on there. They hold one side, they press the brake. Oh, they'll remove one of the brake pads. They'll leave one brake pad in on one of the sides, the side that's not sticking. They'll use that flathead screwdriver and hold it. They'll press the brake until the piston comes out. Then you'll most likely see the gunk that's around that piston. You clean it up and then push it back in. You could just squeeze it back in. And then when you try it again, it should come out evenly. If it doesn't come out, then you just have to keep doing it until the pistons come out freely. And on this bike, on my mountain bike, I have 4 pistons to look at. So I need to make sure all of them go evenly to the disc. Another thing I'm dealing with is I feel like on one side of the pads, it's engaging the disc more than the other side, so it's causing the rotor to bend out a little bit. And I'm just worried that if I don't fix this, eventually I might bend the rotor, and then I don't want that either, because then you'll hear that sound and it'll just slow you down. That's the same issue that I'm experiencing on this road bike right here. You won't hear it right now. It looks like it's spinning freely. Actually, you can tell it's not. It doesn't spin as it should. You can see it's slowing down. So the brake pad is actually touching that rotor. And when I inspect it, when I hold the lever, I can see the rotor bend to one side. So that's one thing that I'm just going to look at. I'm just going to see if it's dirty or if the pistons are not pressing on the rotor evenly. Also, a tip for you guys, if you guys are planning to do this by yourself, when you're working with brakes, brake calipers, brake pads, and the rotors, make sure to leave grease, oils, any kind of lubricants away from those systems, because it will contaminate the brake pads and usually requiring you to buy new brake pads, and you don't want to have to do that. That's like a waste of money. Just make sure you wear gloves and don't use any grease, lube, or anything on those rotors and pads. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to start by removing the caliper from the bike and inspect it there. I'll zoom in to show you guys what I'm talking about as I'm investigating this issue. All right, let's get to it. So I just wanted to show you guys real quick. You can see the rotor right in the center of that caliper there. So when I depress the brake lever, you can see the rotor move to the right side. It's very slight, but it's enough to touch the rotor while I'm trying to brake or ride, and then it's just causing that drag. This is the same issue I'm dealing with on the road bike right now, except for on the road bike it's actually worse. It doesn't even allow the rear tire to spin as free. Alright, so caliper is free. Took the little fastening secure pin, and now I'm using a 3mm Allen wrench, and I'm going to be removing this right here. Alright. If you don't have any rags like I don't, any old shirts, especially white shirts that aren't white anymore, I just use them as rags. Call me cheap. I just don't want to spend on stuff that I don't need yet. Oh yeah, you can see that dirt coming out right there. It's not super dirty, but it could cause issues. Pads should just come right out the top. Lots of gunk in them, dirty. But the pads are wearing evenly. If you inspect them, they look good. So hopefully I caught this problem early. So I'm just gonna wipe them down a little. You could probably spray some brake clean on these, automotive brake clean. But I'm just gonna wipe them down with the rag. You can see how dirty they are. This issue is probably more common on mountain bikes since they ride in dirt, literally. Road bikes, not so much. But I mean, if you're going fast and going downhills a lot, you're probably riding your brakes more than just flat ground. So you will run into these issues sometime or another. So it's good to know how to fix it, unless you don't want to and you have a bike shop that you guys trust. That's always good too, but I like doing things myself. At least trying to save money for more bike parts. I know they don't recommend you pull the brakes without the disc, but if you control it, it shouldn't pop out all the way. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna press the brake. You'll see the pistons come out. So you guys, I almost had a heart attack here. So while I was trying to show you guys the pistons moving out while I was pressing on the brake, it actually popped out. I was paying attention to these pistons and along here, and I couldn't see the piston right here in the dark through the camera, so I didn't notice that it was actually all the way out. It dripped a little brake fluid, but luckily I caught it in time. Pushed the piston back in with this tool. Like I said, this is not the proper tool. This is from the Auto Excel kit that I got for well, I could put the video to this kit that we made on the first timers page. I felt like this is the one that was most fit for this job because it's pretty square. I mean, it has a little flare end, but it's thick. So I use this in there to bend and push the piston back, which the proper tool, there is actually a park tool. I'll show you a link to the actual tool that you should be using for this job. But like I said, I just wanted to deal with what I had right now, and I didn't want to take it to the shop to do this job. So yeah, that was a little nerve-wracking doing this for the first time on this bike, and with 4 pistons, not just 2 like I usually had on my old mountain bike. It was only 1, 2 to deal with, so you just hold it, boom. But this one has 4, so it's a little more to pay attention to. But anyways, not going to be holding this camera anymore while I'm working, so I'm just going to put it back on the stand, and you guys you're gonna have to take my word for it because I need to concentrate on this part. I don't want to make any more mistakes, especially on this bike, because it's my mountain bike. I don't want anything to fail on this, because I should have started on my road bike, honestly, because I don't really care too much. I mean, I do care, but not as much as my mountain bike. I love my mountain bike over my road bike. I mean, I don't know if I say it on the videos, but I love mountain biking. I hate being on the road with the cars. I love being out in the wilderness, breathing that fresh air, not smoggy air. But anyways, anyways, I just don't want to keep talking. I'm gonna get right to this. I want to finish this job. All right, so stay tuned. All right, you guys. That was a fail for me. I mean, I should have paid more attention. That's a mistake that I'm gonna have to pay for later, because right now I researched that Hope Tech brakes, the brakes that are on this bike, requires DOT 5.1 brake fluid, not mineral oil like I originally thought. I mean, I don't even have mineral oil anyway, but I would have to get dot 5.1. I need to get a bleeding kit because I don't have one, and I might just, you know, just call it a day on this mountain bike and take it to a bike shop and get it done professionally, and then just remember this mistake forever. So if I ever have to service the front brakes or the rear brakes eventually on this bike, I'll know what to expect. And you know, like I said, I was really mainly trying to show you guys what was happening when I was depressing the pedal. The pistons were coming out, but they were retracting, and there was one piston that wasn't, it was kind of dark. It was really hard to see, especially I was looking through the camera screen. So I didn't notice that one of the pistons was just coming out. All the pistons were popping out, coming back in, but just one was just coming out, and then it went, and it went down the brake fluid. And I quickly put it back in, but it was just too much brake fluid that must have came out. I mean, the line is pretty short. It's not like a car or a motorcycle where you actually have a lot more fluid. So I think a lot of it came out, and once I put the piston back in, pushed it back into the caliper, I would pull the lever, and there was just nothing. So I know I need to pour more fluid back into it and then re-bleed the system and then get the pistons all lined up and ready again. So I just think, you know, just to cut my losses, this is a pretty expensive bike, at least for me. So I don't want to mess that caliper up. I doubt I will, but it's just for peace of mind. I have a shop that I trust, so I'm just gonna go take it there. My road bike, as for my road bike, I'm gonna get to this one now. So I just thought I should explain why I didn't finish off the mountain bike. And it may not show right now, but I was pretty pissed. I'm pretty pissed. I'm like, man, why? I mean, I knew it was gonna happen if I wasn't paying attention, and I wasn't paying attention. But anyways, I'm gonna get right back to it. So learning my lesson on the mountain bike here, I'm just gonna remove this rear tire. So the disc, in case I do what I just did on the mountain bike, at least the brake fluid won't contaminate the rotor, and that's a whole nother ordeal. So I'm just going to remove this first, lefty-loosey. Oh man, there you go. All right, so I can clearly see the pads here. Just by looking at the brake pads, the outer side is a lot thicker than the inner side, so there's something up with the pistons. I really would like to show you guys close-ups, but just because of what happened before, I'm kind of scared to hold the camera. But right here is the caliper. So you guys can just watch me work here. So this bike's a Giant Advanced Defy Advance 1. It comes with Ultegra drivetrain, but the brakes, I don't think they're Shimano. I think this is Giant's brand, and it's not the best. I mean, it is hydraulic, which is cool, but I don't think it's as good as a Shimano or SRAM. But I got it just because it was hydraulic and disc. So I mean, I really can't complain. This is kind of like entry level to me. But I do want to change them to Ultegra or Dura Ace one day if I keep this bike. This one is a lot thicker than that one. So what's happening is this side is breaking, moving the disc like this. That's that issue that I was explaining earlier. So it was moving the rotor this way and burning up this pad versus that pad. So I need to figure out how to get that fixed. And at least fix this, then at least I can ride the road bike. Hopefully I can get the mountain bike fixed in a day. I'm gonna take it out tomorrow to the shop, bite the bullet on whatever costs to repair, just because I couldn't do it myself. But lesson learned. And that's why we're doing these videos for you guys. If you guys want to do it at home, don't make the same mistake I did. I don't think I would have made that mistake if I wasn't holding the camera, but I was really trying to really show you guys. I may need to figure out like a head mount or something while I'm working. I know you guys can't see this, but it's coming out. It seems to be coming out and going, or coming out and going back in just fine. I don't know. It seems like the pads are, I mean the pistons are fine. Could very well be just the design of this caliper, but we'll see right now. I'll confirm right now, because I haven't had this bike for that long, so the fact that I'm seeing an uneven pad wear, that doesn't speak highly for me on the quality of these calipers. The front's fine, and I'm actually more on the front than I am on the rear on the road bike, so it's kind of that's kind of disappointing. Okay, so guys, so you saw me remove the pads and try to push the pistons. The pistons are moving freely, and the wheel is still at the same state as it was. You could tell it's not freely spinning, especially at that kind of a push. So it might be the case where the caliper is just far over, or too far over towards the inside of the bike. The brake caliper could be too far inward. So that's why the outside brake pad is probably slightly touching the rotor. The inside pad, I can see that gap. The outside pad, I could see it's touching. So guaranteed that's the reason why this wheel won't spin. So what I'm gonna do is loosen at least the two Allen head screws here, or Allen head bolts on the bottom here, and then move the caliper back or out a little bit, and then see if that centers the pads. So I'm gonna get to that. Oh wow, when I move it there, I could see the gap in the pads, which is what I want. So it could be that, it could just be that. Hopefully it is just that. Well, the good news is I can now see a gap on the outside pad, and I see a gap on the inside pad, but it's still touching. As you can see, it slows it down pretty quick, but it might be small enough to not make that much of a difference. Since it's a road bike, I probably might not feel it. I was just being anal. One more time. So the rear caliper is working. The brake feel feels better now after it was, seems to be, after I pressed it a couple times. So I did some research on why the rear wheel doesn't spin as freely, and actually this is normal. I found that the rear wheel will never spin as freely as the front. There's a free wheel and at least 2 additional bearings on the inside that adds drag. So that's why I'm experiencing this. So what I thought was a problem really is normal. So I mean, I messed with it a little bit. I took the caliper out, moved the pistons, but the pistons were pushing out and pulling back in just fine. So I didn't think there was a problem there. So then I thought it was the alignment of the caliper, and so I removed or loosened the bottom mounting bolts and moved the caliper here and there, like left, right, outside, in, and I could see the gap now. At least I could see the gap. It may have helped a little bit, but really the overall outcome, I feel like it's still spinning the same as it was before I even touched it. So I'm just gonna leave it the way it is now. The mountain bike, I just, there's nothing I can do right now. I don't have DOT 5.1 fluid, and I don't have the proper tools to bleed the brakes. So unfortunately, just so I can get my mountain bike back on the road, because we're supposed to be riding, I will have to take it to a professional bike shop down the street from me, and get that done professionally. So unfortunately, guys, I tried my hardest to the best of my knowledge to make this episode as informative as possible. Hopefully you learn from my mistakes, and yeah, don't make the same mistakes I did, especially with the 4-piston caliper or any brake system. Just pay attention to what you're doing. Don't do what I did. And I mean, all in all, I was trying to be a lot more helpful, but it ended up hurting me in the end. Now I have to get this thing serviced. So yeah, I mean, what can I say? It is what it is, and it's not the end of the world. It's just gonna take a little money this time to get it fixed properly, and then put me back on the road. So hope you guys enjoyed. I know it wasn't like a success, like, oh yeah, I fixed my brakes, episode, but it is what it is, like I said. So yeah, if you like this video, make sure to hit that like. If you want to see more videos, maintenance videos, and road and mountain bike videos on this channel, make sure to hit that subscribe. I promise further down the line, as I get more into maintaining the bike by myself and doing some proper research beforehand, the episodes will get better. But I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Mistakes happen, and at least I'm showing you the mistakes so you guys don't run into those issues yourself. So, all right. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you next time. Peace out.